Oh, what's up, people? Welcome back for more Roco news. Today, I want to talk a little bit about the Lancer buff that may be incoming. I'm going to show you the tweet here in a second, but basically, they want to change her kit slightly. They want to take away her smoke grenade and give her C4 instead. Now, I want to talk about three things here. Does Lancer need a buff to begin with? Is C4 actually going to be a buff for her, or is that really not going to help with her current kit? And is the buff going to be enough to actually make her viable in like a ranked type setting? So let's go ahead and show the tweet here really quick. So as you see here, this tweet was sent out just yesterday, and basically they're leaving it up to the community to decide if Lancer gets this change or not, which is part of the reason why I want to make this video, to kind of get your guys input on this, because a lot of people out here are actually Lancer mains, right? So some of y'all might have more insight than I do with Lancer, because I play her, but she's definitely not my main character. Now, first and foremost, does Lancer even need a buff to begin with, right? That's the question that we need to start with. And I personally think that she does need some type of buff or rework. A lot of people think that Lancer's OP. A lot of people think that she's broken. She's really not. When you see Lancers pop off, it's usually against new players or players that are not coordinated. They're not using their mics. If you play against a coordinated team as Lancer, you can still have pop off games, but it's a lot harder to do so, right? You have to play a lot more strategic. Lancer is a good pub stomper. Lancer is good for getting high kill games right now while the game is still new. But when rank comes out, when you're playing against people who know the game, people who are expecting to flank, people that are keeping eyes on that flank, right? It's going to be a lot harder for Lancers to really get in there and just tear some people up. That's just the fact. So does she need some type of buff? I feel like she does, because right now I don't see her being a huge viable pick when it comes to ranked. And you know, we'll talk about the rank thing later, but I honestly don't. I don't think people are going to pick her over those high ranking characters like Ronin, right? Like Dima. I just don't. I feel like Lancer needs something that makes her less of a duelist in a way. And I know that sounds weird, but she's a duelist in a way, like where she runs up and she's going to force some type of engagement, but usually, especially when you're playing against better players, she ends up losing that fight. Now, I know there are some nasty Lancers out there that are going to disagree with me. All fine and well. You may be the exception to that rule, but there's ranking systems in games for a reason, right? There are some characters that are just objectively better than other characters. Now, if you are a good player, you might bend that rule, right? You might be able to be just nasty with that character so you can beat most people, even if they're playing a better rogue or a better hero. But that doesn't change the fact that the character is still not great overall, right? I think a lot of times people they confuse their own skill, like their gaming power, with the actual capability of the character. Now, I'm curious to see how people respond to that in the comments. I could get some good backlash there. Maybe people will agree. We'll see when this comes out. But the second thing I want to talk about here is if C4, is it even a buff to begin with, right? C4, don't get me wrong, it's a good item, right? On Talent, I love using it. On Anvil, so good. But is it really going to be beneficial for Lancer, especially since she already has the Semtex grenade, which of course isn't C4, right? C4 I think has a little more utility, but with Lancer's kit, this sneaky rushing around type thing, is the C4 really the change that she needs? I feel like there was something else that they could have given her to make her less of a reckless character in a way, something that made her more viable in a way, almost like making her more of like a scout type character instead of this bulldozing flank type character that gets in the back line, right? So I don't know if the C4 is really gonna change like her win rate or her ability to win fights, because what you can do with C4 sneaking up on people, you can do the same thing with Semtex pretty much, right? They're both explosive. You throw them to a point, they blow up. Now, obviously, C4 has a little bit more utility as far as like defending a point, blocking off an area. But again, is that really what Lancer needs as somebody who is probably going to be a little more hyper aggressive, right? She's meant to get in there and really mix it up. And that's why I look back at the Semtex grenade and it looks like it got some type of buff or rework itself. Because if you look on the screen here, They added this increased throw speed and increased stuck damage to 250. That wasn't like that 2 weeks ago. So I mean, when I'm looking at it like this, I feel like for Lancer specifically, this is probably the better bet than C4. So I don't really see what C4 is going to do for Lancer's kit that the Semtex grenade doesn't already kind of complement. I feel like she needs a different type of item or a different type of perk or something in her kit instead of the C4. Now, with that being said, the last thing that I want to touch on here is going to be, is this going to make her any more viable in ranked, right? Because when you're talking about just playing her in general, like, yeah, maybe C4 won't be that big of a deal, especially if you like to play like the limited time modes or strikeout. It's whatever, you know, you're just having a good time. But in an actual ranked setting, right, most likely demolition, maybe wingman, the 2v2, would C4 help her kit in that sense? And I guess the question is what type of Lancer do you have? Do you have a Lancer that is trying to get the flank, that is kind of, because a lot of times you see Lancers, they go off on their own, they do that long flank around, they come up behind the enemy team. But I guess it depends on what type of Lancer you have, what type of level they're playing at, and maybe having somebody else with a C4 for the utility of it will be beneficial. But I feel like it's something that just doesn't fit her kit. And why would you pick Lancer for C4 when you could pick somebody that has more utility with it, like Talon? Now, I know that Talon and Lancer are obviously very different characters, right? You can't even compare the two with their kits. But Talon is a high tier hero, I think, for like a team setting, definitely more viable than Lancer all around, right? Because he has the vision, he has decent weapons, he has the C4 to block stuff off. Talon is a solid choice, right? So why pick Lancer over somebody like that? And that's the issue that I'm running into when I'm looking at what they're proposing for this buff. Is it going to be enough to make her viable at higher levels? Is it even worth taking the time to make this change? So yeah, that's my thought on it. I want to know what you guys think, because some of you have been playing Lancer a lot, right? Like a lot of people are Lancer mains. That's who you rock with day in and day out. So let me know what you think. Is C4 the buff or the change that you were looking for when it comes to Lancer's kit? If yes, explain why, and if not, tell me what you would have liked to see instead, because I really want to have this conversation. Because I think that it will help developers kind of know what the community wants, especially if we get some higher level players to chime in on this, right? And it just informs the community about, you know, what may be viable, what might be best for an actual character, right? From people who are actually playing that character a lot. So hopefully I get to hear from you guys. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe for more Roko info, and we're going to be posting up another video tomorrow. This is Orsacourse. Thank you for watching as always, people. We'll see you in the next one. If you haven't already, make sure to send me a friend request. I'm going to be doing some streams over the next couple of weeks, so I want to get a team together. I'm trying to get a team together for some demolition, maybe a team for ranked or something when it comes out, because it's right around the corner. So we're going to have a ranked mode here pretty soon. So let me know. Send me a request, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace, 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 peace.